Welcome, Sibal sir.
Hello, Mr. Gaurav. Hello, Mrs. Oswal. Hello, Mr. Kian Malhotra.
Hello, Gaurav sir. Welcome, Minaj.
नमस्कार सिब्बल साहब नमस्कार
नमस्कार जी
जोर से
I think this is the World Environment Day we are celebrating, and
Speak loudly.
I have been painting on the subject of environment for the last about 50 to 60 years. And I've seen the environment around us from my childhood days, when the everything around was so pure, so clean, so neat, and the skies used to be.
Thank you, Sibal sir.
Hello, good morning.
Minaj ji, कुछ आप बोलिए.
जी, welcome everybody and congratulate to celebrate this World Environment Day today. And welcome Madam Aruna ji.
Many Has ji, welcome to the webinar. Thank you. Hope all
Thank
are
you.
fine. You all are looking very great and fresh and nice.
He's always looking dynamic and fresh.
Rested very well.
सब ये 5 मिनट पहले सबने चेंज करा जी वेबिनार में आने के लिए है. Otherwise everybody is at leisure.
Night suits.
We welcome Mr. Kazim Samandri. Welcome, Mr. Kazim.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon. Good to see you.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Mr.
How you and Madam Christine?
Good by the grace of God. By
Yes.
the grace of God.
We pray for the whole world, nation and world safety.
Yes, yes.
We got a call from Bhiku ji. Ladakh से कुछ connection में problem आ रहा है. Internet से is connecting very soon from Ladakh. Malhotra ji भी अभी कुछ connection is there some problem in the connection.
It's fine.
Yes, Malhotra ji, welcome. There is some network issue. Malhotra ji is also trying to connect. मधु जी, तो ऋषि जी आप बोल लीजिए, तो सुना दीजिए कुछ.
एक्चुअली वेदर चेंज हो रहा है, बारिश आने के चांसेस हैं.
हाँ, इससे थोड़ा सा कनेक्शन है. मल्होत्रा जी का भी कट डिस्कनेक्ट हो गया है. एंड
It is raining this side. It has started raining this side.
गौरव जी सुना दे क्या कुछ दो चार बातें कह दे.
आप सुनाइए, आप एनवायरनमेंट को कहिए कुछ अपने.
बताइए बताइए.
जी आप सुन रही हैं, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है. थैंक यू. वीआईपी मैसेज मिला है गौरव जी. थैंक यू. We from the platform of Innovil believe that what we do to environment, that we do to us. Basically, we heard of World War I, we heard of World War II, but if at all we will have World War III, I think that will be for potable water and breathable air. As we all know, charity begins at home. Charity or everything. So हम पहले खुद को educate करें. So my staff, me, wherever we go from platform in Innovil, we keep trying to educate people, plant trees and everything. But what I saw when we go out and advocate inside and outside, the situation is different. So I'm trying to reverse that. I know my staff knows if at all they have to wash vegetables, where they have to throw water. If they are using RO water, the pipe goes straight to the lawn, and whatever water is wasted, it doesn't go waste because it goes back to the ground and it reserves water. So ultimately, my staff doesn't go to market with the polythene bags. So whatever we do, that's what I keep trying to tell everyone. We do that, we advocate, and yes, and one. अच्छा एक चीज और है. Now we are fighting corona, but the videos are shown. Wash your hands for 20 seconds. आज TV पर आया 20 seconds. You are doing it with sanitizer and 40 seconds with water. My humble request to everyone: while you watch, please do not let the tap running. Thank you, Gaurav ji.
Thank you. We like to welcome our minister also from the Embassy of Egypt, Professor Nada. Welcome. Oh, again today we have to work very hard because there is again problem in the network. Lot of issues. Arunaji, can you unmute yourself? Professor Bakshi, Wing Commander Bakshi.
Yes.
Sir,
How are you?
pleased to listen from you.
It is a great pleasure to be with this august company. This is a very, very serious subject. I have served in the armed forces and they are very serious about environment. I would like to tell you that environment is also a part of the humanitarian laws, and the protection of environment is in Geneva Conventions. In fact, during war, the modification of environment is a crime. So that is how it started in Vietnam War, called the Geneva Convention NMOD. The Agent Orange incident in Vietnam is a main landmark in this, which changed the genetic traits of flora and fauna. And that is why biodiversity, protection of biodiversity is so important. And I will later on during course of our conversation tell you our experiences in Ganga dolphin, how we did work for them, and tiger project, preservation of elephant migration. All these things we will discuss.
Thank you, sir. Malhotra, you just start because everybody is getting some problem to connect. We can start our meeting. Everybody will join in the middle.
Yeah. Welcome address by the chairperson.
No, अभी start करना है क्या? Should we start now? Have we got all the panelists speakers or not? Gaurav, can you hear me? Malhotra ji, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. First,
Yeah, but,
welcome address by the chairperson.
I need to know how many, have we got all the panelists or speakers, or some are still to join?
How about still to join?
How much time they will take more? Should we start? What we should do?
We should start.
Should we start?
Let Gaurav should speak.
Yes, Malhotra ji, start कीजिए. सब ना problem. Everybody is on the way. Problem आ रही connection. We can start the meeting. In the meanwhile, they will join us.
Start with the welcome address.
Yes.
Okay.
We'd like to welcome our chairperson, Mr. Rono Oswal.
So, good afternoon to all. As a chairperson of Indian Council of Human Relations, I would like to welcome today's panelists, all the speakers, and of course, most importantly, we are coming as a chief guest, Shrimati Meenakshi Lekhi, Honorable Member of Parliament later on. And I'm so happy today that so many ICTR members have joined today, and lot of excellencies, eminent speakers and panelists have joined today. As everybody is talking about the subject of Environment Day today, yes, it is always celebrated on 5th of June. And you must be noticing that at the time of COVID-19, now we are staying at home, all of us are staying at home. So we have enjoyed nature like anything this time. So I was just wondering, since 2.5 months we are at home and enjoying nature, the day the lockdown started opening, little bit of environment started, little bit of spoiling the environment and all. I was just wondering, when it is going to open all, lockdown will be over, and the same status of India or Delhi, any city in India will start the same traffic and all these things. So what is going to happen at that time? So we need to think on that. It is not important we celebrate the day today and then just sit at home and think of it. We need to find some ways out today how ICHR can help with all their panelists, with all their great speakers, to create a new environment to this country or maybe to the nation. As everybody knows, this day is the most renowned day, which is, we call it like a action for environmental action. And since 1974, it has been celebrated every year, as I already said, 5th of June. And ICHR is celebrating since 30 years. I got to know from Malhotra ji, and Malhotra ji is a key member here like Gaurav Gupta. And I was just thinking, as Captain Bakshi ji was telling, that this is, the time has come for biodiversity. Yes, in 2020, the theme is biodiversity. And concern is very, very urgent and very, very important, that how we can change whole scene of this unenvironment into environment, good environment to breathe, to take fresh air, which we always want to have. The food we eat, the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the climate that makes our planet habitable all come from nature, as we all know. We all breathe from nature, despite all the benefits that our nature gives us. What we give them back, give nature back. That is a think tank. We need to look at that. And the benefits which we're getting from nature, still we mistreat it. We don't realize the importance of nature. That is why we need to work on this. That's why we need this observance. But do we really know its importance? The question always comes in my mind. And I would like to tell you here, our Lions Club International Foundation, since so many years, from 2000, I think 17, we started to work on environment in a very, very big way. Millions and billions of trees have been planted all around the globe. And till today, we have our LCA Forward, where we have environment also a great issue to address. So all around the world, we have 45,000 more clubs and 1.4 million members all around the world. We all are working on this. But even then, we have not been able to fight this issue. So today, my request to each one of you, let us hear from our panelists, let us have their experience, and let us find a way out how we can fight this problem, how we can reconcile this problem. And I would like to say that I would just like to conclude with these lines. The colors of the planet are more significant than the colors of our skin. The colors of the planet are more significant than the colors of our skin. So we need to stay united, not for all of us, but for humanity, for our nation. So I would like to wish all the best to each one of you. I would like to again welcome our panelists, our esteemed speakers, and of course, all the members who have joined today. And I'm very confident that at the end of it, we are going to definitely find a way out how we can take this forward. Thank you very much, and I welcome you again, each one of you. Over to Gaurav.
Thank you, madam. I would like to welcome Honorable Excellency, Ambassador of Zambia. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome, Excellency. Oh, she's connecting. Malhotra ji, आप बोलिए, आप carry on.
Yeah. Good evening to everybody.
Evening.
Today we are celebrating World Environment Day.
Right.
And I am thankful to Madam Chairperson for presiding and inspiring us to continue with such activities. When ICHR was formed, on its letterhead, first letterhead, it was written to promote universal brotherhood, protect environment, and strengthen international understanding. So it is on the very blood in ICHR to continue with the celebration of Environment Day. It goes to one gentleman, his name was Morris Strong. He was a businessman in Canada, social activist. He was the man who had an idea that there must be some work, some devotion, some attention to the protection of environment. He tried his level best to have some sort of recognition. But the developed countries refused to support. Ultimately, Boris Strong was in a position to have a day that in 1972, the first human environment convention was held by UN, and later on it was decided that every year from 1974, World Environment Day will be celebrated. And the first year theme was One Earth. So the idea is to create awareness. So on this day, we pay tribute to Morris Strong, and I had the opportunity to meet him when he came to India in 1977 or 76. ICHR is an organization which has devoted itself to world celebrations of World Environment Day. We, in collaboration with all important institutions like UNIC, like India Habitat Center, like IIC, and different embassies, we celebrated World Environmental Day with their cooperation and collaborations. It was the day when in the Parliament House we celebrated World Environment Day and we decorated. Then time the Minister Kamal Nath, who was the Environment Minister, came from Ward challenging the World authorities when there was the opposing a resolution that the all forest of all the world should be under one control, except Americans. So we gave him Sons of the Great India award also. The chairperson of the biggest NGO, Osika, was also present in the Parliament House. After that, we celebrated every year. Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma was our guest in Constitution Club. Then we organized a meeting with India Habitat Center. Ambassador of High Commissioner of Mauritius was the chief guest. But the most important event of World Environment Day, which has an effective role played by Indian Council for World Affairs, was 1950. It was 2050 when the Paris conference was going to take place, and there were instructions by UN Secretary General that all NGOs should force their government to sign on the Paris Accord, Climate Change Accord. And accordingly, we had a conference in WWF auditorium. It was jam-packed, and Suresh Prabhu, the Honorable Minister, Sonal Mansingh, all other dignitaries were there. We had the opportunity on the behalf of ICHR to stress the Honorable Minister, we are here to force you, to force the government of India that they must sign the Paris Accord, coming Paris Accord. Accordingly, ICHR played a role as directed by UN Secretary General, force his Honorable Minister to force the government. And Paris Accord, climate change was going to be signed, but last moment there was a ditch. With the intervention of our Prime Minister Modi, the ditch was over, and the climate change Paris Agreement was signed. So ICHR throughout is celebrating International Environment Day. On this day, this year the theme is celebrate biodiversity. Biodiversity is the most important aspect of Indian culture. We worship Vayu, Jal, Akash, Prithvi, Sagar, everything we worship. Animals, even some animals are we are worship them also. Similarly, this slogan, biodiversity, stands for genetic diversity, animal diversity, ecosystem diversity. This is the slogan of the year. But on this day, I must we must remember one lady. Her name is Amrita Devi. In 1730, 1730, 28th August, there is a village in Rajasthan, 16 kilometers away from Jodhpur, Khejari. The Maharaja of Marwar wanted to build his palace and he wanted the lime of the trees. So his minister went to this village and asked that I want to cut the Khejari trees. The lady refused. As such, the lady was killed. Her two daughters sacrificed their lives. And as a result, 363 people, they hugged, every man hugged one tree. 363 people were killed in Rajasthan to save the trees protection. So on this day, we remember Amrita Devi, how serious and sincere the people of India are there to protect its environment. Last but not the least, the Constitution of India, Directive Principles 48 says the state shall endeavor to protect and improvement environment and to safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. It is not the state. 48 clause. It is the clause, another clause 51 says of the same Constitution of India, it shall be duty of every citizen of India to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, and have compassion for living creatures. So in India, there are many acts, but credit goes to Supreme Court of India. Supreme Court of India forced asked government to implement, make laws, and several laws were made, even the CNG gas. Similarly, now there is a question, and I pose that question. An elephant was killed, and there is a hue and cry. That is one aspect. But there is another state, Himachal Pradesh. If you kill one monkey, you will get 500 rupees also. Since the dual policy of different states, on this day we must demand the center must come out with a policy to protect environments as a whole. There should be a uniform policy. And last but not the least, we are faced with the pollution problems, and this major problem is a challenge and opportunity. I leave the house open for discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Malhotra ji. We would like to welcome our Honorable Excellency. Her Excellency, welcome, Madam.
Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Excellency from Zambia, welcome, Excellency.
Namaste. Thank you.
Yes, we have our Minister Council from Embassy of Egypt, Mr. Professor Nada. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
We have our Honorable Guruji, Lokesh Muniji with us. Guruji, we would like to have blessing from you. Welcome, Guruji.
हाँ जी गौरव जी नमस्कार।
नमस्कार।
दरअसल मेरा 4:30 से 6 बजे विवेक ओबेरॉय के साथ है पहले से कार्यक्रम, तो मैं गौरव जी के खास निमंत्रण पर 5 मिनट के लिए उपस्थित हुआ हूँ। गौरव जी, विश्व पर्यावरण दिवस पर आप सबको बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं। और मैं केवल इतना ही टिप्पणी करना चाहूंगा कि आज पर्यावरण प्रदूषण के विश्व की सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है ग्लोबल वार्मिंग की, क्लाइमेट चेंज की, जलवायु परिवर्तन की। और हम देख रहे हैं कि किस तरह से ग्लेशियर्स पिघलते जा रहे हैं, ओजोन की छतरी का छेद बढ़ता जा रहा है, और पर्यावरण प्रदूषण के कारण से ही आज कोरोना महामारी जैसी समस्याओं से पूरी दुनिया को जूझना पड़ रहा है। ऐसे के अंदर हमें अपनी जीवन शैली को बदलने की जरूरत है, अपनी लाइफ स्टाइल को इको फ्रेंडली बनाने की जरूरत है। ऐसा करके हम स्वयं से शुरुआत कर सकते हैं समाज को, देश को और दुनिया को बदलने के लिए। मैं आप सभी अपने अपने क्षेत्र में बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, मैं सबको साधुवाद देता हूँ, सबके प्रति मंगल भावना करता हूँ, और आइए हम सब मिलकर के हमारा हजारों वर्षों पूर्व हमारी भारतीय संस्कृति के अंदर, हमारी महान सनातन परंपरा में, जैन जीवन शैली में ये कहा गया कि पृथ्वी, पानी, अग्नि, वायु, वनस्पति, इनका अनावश्यक उपयोग मत करो। पदार्थ सीमित है, इच्छाएं आकाश के समान असीम है, और असीम इच्छाओं की पूर्ति सीमित पदार्थ नहीं कर सकते। इसलिए हम सबको भोग और उपभोग के सीमाकरण को सीखना होगा, संयम आधारित जीवन शैली को सीखना होगा, और इको फ्रेंडली हमें अपनी लाइफ स्टाइल को बनाना होगा, और हमारी विकास की अवधारणा के मूल में भी हमें चेतना को, आत्मा को केंद्र में रखना होगा, पदार्थ को परिधि में रखना होगा। ऐसा हम करेंगे, और आज के दिन संकल्प करें, हम सभी वृक्ष का न केवल लगाएंगे बल्कि उसकी पूरी देखभाल भी करेंगे, और उसी तरह से हम नेचुरल रिसोर्सेज जो है, वाटर का दुरुपयोग नहीं करेंगे, पेट्रोल का दुरुपयोग नहीं करेंगे, और ऊर्जा का दुरुपयोग नहीं करेंगे। संयम के साथ इको फ्रेंडली अपनी जीवन शैली को बनाएंगे। इन्हीं सत्यों के साथ ओम अरहम।
थैंक यू वेरी मच गुरुजी, आपका आशीर्वाद बहुत। अरुणा जी, आप कुछ कहना चाहेंगे गुरुजी जी?
बस अच्छा लगा गुरुजी से सुन के।
अरुणा ओसवाल जी, बहुत अच्छा काम करती हो आप, मैं बिल्कुल देखता रहता हूँ सोशल मीडिया पे, और गौरव भी आपके बारे में बहुत बताता है। बहुत बहुत साधुवाद है आपको अच्छे कामों के लिए।
आपका आशीर्वाद रहे, बस वही चाहिए हमें।
नहीं, हम मिलते रहेंगे ना, आज मेरी थोड़ी मजबूरी है, वो पहले से करके।
थैंक यू सो मच जी।
थैंक यू जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच गुरुजी, धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, आपका आशीर्वाद बना रहे। एक्चुअली बीकू जी भी लद्दाख से ट्राई कर रहे हैं, वहाँ कनेक्शन की प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, हेल स्टॉर्म आ गया, दिल्ली में भी तो प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, काफी लोग ऑन द वे हैं।
अच्छा,
तो विद द परमिशन,
बहुत अच्छे मित्र हैं बीकू सिंह सैना जी भी, बहुत अच्छे मित्र हैं।
जो भी प्रेजेंट है उनको आप ले लो इन द मीन टाइम, नो प्रॉब्लम।
Excellency, with your permission, I would like to invite others. Thank you.
Yes.
Our friend from Egypt, Embassy of Egypt, Professor Nada, namaste.
Good evening. How are you doing? And how's everybody? First of all, thank you so much for the invitation for this function on the occasion of the World Environment Day. It's a pleasure to join your meeting and to be with you in such a day. Of course, it may be recognized that it is the initiative of the United Nations since the early 1970s to establish the celebration or the function of the World Environment Day. Especially this year, the focus is on the biodiversity. On the occasion also of having the coronavirus pandemic in the world, with its impact on people and the relation between environment and this coronavirus, and how this can put or can encourage people to focus more on the environment and the ecosystems, and how to preserve environment and to develop in a more sustainable way, including many issues, water, food, air, and others. And also in this field of preserving and trying to put some efforts in the field of coronavirus endeavors and efforts. His Excellency, the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Professor Dr. Khaled Abdel Ghaffar, has recently announced that according to the website of clinical trials, Egypt is considered the first among the countries of the Middle East and African continent to carry out experiments to try to find a cure for emerging coronavirus COVID-19, pointing to the effort of Egyptian universities and research centers in carrying out most clinical trials at the level of the African continent, with 22 clinical trials out of 40 experiments carried out by African countries. Also, Professor Abdel Ghaffar stated that Egypt conducted half of the experiments carried out by countries in the Middle East to find a cure to resist the emerging coronavirus. As the Middle East countries carried out around maybe 44 experiments since the beginning of the virus in China. So there are a lot of efforts done by Egypt, and it's a pleasure to highlight some of it. Not to take much of time, it's a pleasure again to join this meeting and to convey the greetings of Her Excellency Dr. Heba Al-Marasi, Ambassador of Egypt to India, and best wishes for all of the endeavors to have a better and safer environment and better and safer world, and hopefully all of your excellencies to stay safe. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and would like to invite Mr. Kazim. Welcome, Mr. Kazim.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I will be very brief. My thanks to Ichr for inviting me as a panelist to this celebration. It has been widely acknowledged that economic prosperity has come at a tremendous cost to our natural environment. In fact, no country has emerged as a major industrial power without a legacy of significant environmental damage, affecting the security and well-being of its own population and equally significantly those of developing nations. The growth-driven economic paradigm rooted in national interest at the expense of social and environmental variables and international well-being is under increased scrutiny. As trustees or stewards of planet's vast resources and biological diversity, humanity must learn to make use of the Earth's natural resources, both renewable and non-renewable, in a manner that ensures sustainability and equity into the distant reaches of time. This attitude of stewardship will require full consideration of the potential environmental consequences of all development activities. It will compel humanity to temper its actions with moderation and humility, realizing that the true value of nature cannot be expressed in economic terms. It will also require a deep understanding of the natural world and its role in humanity's collective development, both material and spiritual. Therefore, sustainable environmental management must come to be seen not as a discretionary commitment mankind can weigh against other competing interests, but rather as a fundamental responsibility that must be shouldered, a prerequisite for spiritual development as well as the individual physical survival. In other terms, the question of the environment cannot be dissociated with that of the reality of mankind as creatures of God and the purpose and destiny of each man and woman during their journey through this earthly life. Changing our understanding, habits, and behaviors will require a profound inner transformation of each and every inhabitant of the planet. It will be painful. It will require time and effort, but it is inevitable if we as a species are to survive. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ria. We are missing your tasty food, pasties. Hope it is operational now.
Yes, yes. Hopefully, as things change, that will come back also. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Excellency from Madagascar, Charge Affair, Madagascar, China. Excellency, please guide us, motivate us.
Thank you, Excellencies, distinguished panelists, respected participants. It is an honor to participate in this meeting for the celebration of World Environment Day. And on behalf of the people and the government of the Republic of Madagascar, I would like to congratulate Ichr for having organized this event today. And thank you for this opportunity to share Madagascar's celebration with such a rich and diverse panel. Before I come to the topic of our event today, please allow me to present the condolences of the people of Madagascar to all those who have lost lives, lost loved ones during this tragedy of COVID-19. And we also would like to express our sincere and heartfelt sympathy to families exposed to extreme human suffering linked to COVID-19. Excellencies, the celebration of World Environment Day this year, 2020, takes place in a particular context. It is a period in which fear and uncertainty prevail. As we navigate this terrible storm, not only do we have to deal with health emergency, but we also have to face with many other crises, economic crisis, social crisis, and all these urgent issues have impact on our already poor environment. There is fear that measures taken to recover from all these crises will be taken out of the consideration of the environment. All these problems also concern Madagascar. Now, economic loss due to COVID-19 is and will be severely impacting the environment. Green tourism, which used to provide consequent funding to the preservation of biodiversity in the country, will have its revenue falling out. International funding to support environmental program is possibly to decrease or even to dry up. At a national level, governance of the environment will be hampered by the slowdown in the administration and the risk of an exacerbation of irrational use, overexploitation, and even illegal trafficking is very high, leading to the depletion of natural resources. We can mention fisheries, forestries, illegal trafficking of endemic animals. But in spite of these looming challenges, Madagascar's commitment to the protection of the environment is constant. As a country, Madagascar is associated with biodiversity. Yes, it is a hotspot with a high level of endemicity. But another thing we take pride is a very strong heritage historical heritage in terms of protection of the environment, and it dates back few centuries ago. If not the first in Africa, Madagascar is among the first to have a formally recorded royal proclamation about protection of forests. This was during our great king, Andriana Queen Mirna's rule between 1781 and 1910. And since the independence in 1960, Madagascar constitution always included provisions on the protection of the environment and natural resources. Today, we are fully aware that our pledges to prosperity, to peace and security, to energy, to food autonomy, to education, public health, employment, all these encompass a strong environmental consciousness. We pledge for a sustainable management and conservation of our natural resources. And for that, we count to build on what I mentioned, this historical legacy left by our forefathers to fuel a national momentum to make Madagascar green again. We have an objective of 40,000 hectares of reforestation with a particular focus on conservation and protected areas. We also count on cooperation among countries and all stakeholders from all sectors of activities. We seek not only to avoid regression in all the steps made to protect the environment, we also call for bolder and more resolved actions for the future generations, not only the generations of humans, but the generations of all beings. So to conclude, I will use the word of our Minister of the Environment, Her Excellency Baumiavti Nirina. I would quote that we hope that all efforts are generated and amplified so that the world regain its ecological and environmental dignity which will ensure a harmonious interdependence within humans and all the rest of livings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Taina. Thank you very much. It was really great observation of yours for this day. Over to Gaurav.
Yeah, thank you, Excellency. Before I invite Ambassador of Zambia, we'd like to have an environment video from Mr. D.P. Sibbal. Welcome, Sibbal Saab. Meanwhile, we try to play the video of his painting on environment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gaurav, Mrs. Oswal, and Mr. Malhotra.
So I'd like to share the video.
I am G.P. Sibbal, who has been painting for a long time on the issues of nature and environment in its myriad moods and manifestations. As a child, I've seen so much full of greenery around and so much of pollution-free atmosphere that I find it missing nowadays in my present-day life. I've even seen the skies which used to be so clear at night that one can see billions and billions of stars amidst the Milky Way, and one could clearly see the pole star, the great bear, the minor bear. All these things are so distinct. They are slowly and gradually vanishing from our lives today. I want to impress upon you all that just go back to nature and not turn our backs to nature.
Thank you, Sibalji.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Sibbalji. It was really nice art you showed us today. It's really nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you indeed.
I'd like to acknowledge we have our member, Vikram Sharma ji, Dr. Dipali, Mr. A.K. Merchant, and our guest, Sanjana John. Welcome, Sanjana.
Thank you, Gauravji.
I could see Omkarji also is there.
Omkarji, we have already mentioned he is there from the beginning. Vikramji is there.
Yeah.
And Madhurichi is there. Anurag from Bharatpur is here. And many more to come. And now it's time to get a blessing from Her Excellency of Zambia.
Namaste.
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 Namaste, everyone. Respected dignitaries on this platform, I want to acknowledge the presence of the members of the diplomatic corps, all the academic experts, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Zambia High Commission in India is exceedingly humbled to be part of this momentous occasion. And I want to say thank you to Mr. Malhotra for granting me another opportunity to come and be part of the panelists. And thank you to my dear friend, Gaurav. World Environment Day is held every 5th June all around the world. It is not a public holiday. It is an environmental awareness day run by the United Nations. The aim of it is to raise awareness of the environment and specific environmental issues which we are grappling with globally. World Environment Day was established in 1972, but was first held in 1974, which shows that concern about the environment goes back several years. 143 countries part in World Environment Day, and the day focuses on environment concerns ranging from pollution to global warming and sustainable food production to protection of wildlife. World Environment Day 2020, this year's theme is biodiversity, a concern that is both urgent and existential according to the United Nations. Participants of Environment Day include all NGOs, governments, communities, individuals, charitable organizations, and celebrities. And together, we raise awareness of environmental issues. Dear colleagues, Zambia praises India for successfully hosting the World Environment Day last year in 2019, which was a very momentous occasion. And for the first time in history, World Environment Day has not been celebrated through activities such as clear-up campaigns, concerts, conventions, and parades, tree planting exercises, and lectures because of the coronavirus global pandemic. Zambia therefore calls for more promotional materials for the day, which tend to be created using our natural environmental colors. And green and brown, mark most of the day. Zambia takes note of environmental challenges being experienced in most or some parts of the world, India included, and is benchmarking efforts in addressing the challenges. India has done its very level best. Industrialization, urbanization, and population growth have serious negative consequences on the environment, as each one of those propagation makes demands on natural resources. Dear friends, every sector of the economy, to some extent, causes environmental problems. The mining sector, the manufacturing industries cause serious pollution, with mines the biggest polluters of the environment. This is especially true in areas such as our copper belts, Zambia being one of the largest countries with the largest deposits of minerals, especially copper. Our Central and Lusaka provinces, where mining and manufacturing are concentrated. The operations of these enterprises, though bringing in issues such as employment, cause environmental degradation through pollution of the atmosphere, water, and land. Consequently, the mining sector and the manufacturing industries have been identified as the most important sectors, but also the worst pollutants of the atmosphere and water and land degradation in our country, Zambia. Zambia has therefore stiffened legislation to address environmental challenges. However, implementation of Zambia's environmental regulatory regime faces a wide range of problems, from a highly centralized financial and decision-making system and budgetary allocation of negligible size, to lack of appropriate tools, equipment, and sometimes enough personnel with technical capacity which we seek to collaborate with countries such as India. Let me focus therefore on this year's theme, which is biodiversity. Zambia is endowed with an abundance of natural resources and a fairly rich biological diversity. In common with other developing countries, Zambia is highly dependent on the exploitation of biological resources for the livelihood of the majority of its people, especially those living in the rural areas. Firewood, so on and so forth. Since the early 1980s, Zambia has witnessed rapid degradation in its biological resources due to overexploitation and destruction from pollution, fires, and other human activities. Although the total contribution of biological diversity to the national economy is not known, the contribution of agriculture, forestry, and fishing to GDP was estimated at 17.2% in 1996 and 16.0% in 1997, and therefore Zambia recognizes the importance of biodiversity and has over the years developed a number of programs aimed at conserving the country's biodiversity and ensuring its sustainable use. We may also take note that Zambia, as a landmass of 753,000 square kilometers against a backdrop of 17 million people. On May 28, 1993, Zambia ratified the Convention on Biological Diversity, CBD, to signify our commitment to the convention, and early 1997, we embarked on the process of developing a national biodiversity strategy and action plan as a tool for biodiversity conservation. This plan takes Zambia's development priorities, potential, and constraints, and identifies opportunities for donor support in the conservation and management of the country's biodiversity. Dear colleagues, the fisheries sector contributes around 1% on average to GDP, and it makes contributions to rural economic growth and providing significant economic opportunities for the poor. Zambia houses about 70% of underground water, and most of our fish is gotten from the fresh water. There isn't much farming, but we've recently introduced that. The sector's contribution to national food security and public health are likewise largely undervalued, and government has stepped up efforts through the creation of a ministry responsible for fisheries and livestock. Forest resources through non-timber products provide for broad uses for the nutrition and generation of household income for both rural and urban households by generating formal and informal employment. Mushrooms, fruits, leafy vegetables, tubers, and insects collected from Nyombo woodland are widely consumed by rural households and enrich their starch-based diets with vitamins and minerals. These foods are often available at the start of every rainy season and thereby serve as an important gap filler when food stocks are low. Hence the need to protect this biodiversity. The INSTU method as a strategy for the conservation of biodiversity for food and agriculture, such as useful wild plant species, wild-related plant species, wild fruits, and local crop varieties remain an important strategy. On farm conservation activities in Zambia, that is where we've initiated a regional program in 1998 involving Malawi, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And historically, you may wish to know that Zambia, Malawi, and Zimbabwe were one country. And these were spearheaded by SADC Plant Genetic Resource Center, which are ongoing in the three countries, and Zambia with participation of other three piloted communities in Lusaka, the capital city, rural central and southern provinces of the country. Lastly, I wish to state that Zambia has built a wide network of local and international non-governmental organizations aimed at mobilizing resources and spreading awareness. We look forward to listening from experiences being shared on this platform so that Zambia may also learn and domesticate some of the ideas back home. I wish all the panelists all the success, and I wish to encourage all of you to network with various other stakeholders for new innovations. Thank you very much for your kind attention. I am your speaker for now, Judith Kangoma Kapijimpanga, Zambia's High Commissioner to India. Thank you very much for your attention. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Excellency. I would request my friends and our members, please stay with us. Dr. Sanjay John and our Bollywood actor, Mr. Parveen Das is about to join with our Member of Parliament. I would request our members to take 2 minutes each. And would like to welcome Mr. Kanayalal Ganjuji also. Ganjuji, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Consul General of Comoros. Sir, you have to wait. We are waiting for you, and now you have to wait. We'll listen to you at the end.
No problem, no problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Dr. Dipali, you have to leave. Please share your views fast. Please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Hi, everybody, and thanks to Aruna Didi and Gaurav Ji for organizing this. And I will be bilingual, but to all the excellencies here, this is the time when, as a doctor, as a dermatologist, of course, heart is very upset to celebrate Environment Day from all the other days. I am deeply upset, especially living in New Delhi, where you can see on the roads people throwing their masks, their head cover, their gloves, everything is on the roads, even which is a place far away from hospitals. They don't bother to take it home. So let us today on this platform of Ichr, we are all talking big, always trying to do big. Every year we used to celebrate with and plant trees, because planting trees is saving lives. I request that all of us will pledge and not throw and waste these masks, and allow our staff also to not do so. And this is the time when we really need to respect our environment, because we can see all the elements of earth, water, air, wind, everything is unhappy with human race. So we better try to take this pledge and celebrate Environment Day every day. I again congratulate Aruna Didi and Gaurav Ji for organizing this, and wish you all a very safe time during this unlocking. Stay healthy, friends, and let's all together respect our environment daily. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Would like
Dipali, in fact, we are proud of you. You are doing wonderful, and I'm sorry I'm not been able to attend your webinars and your programs, but I'm hearing from everybody you're doing wonderful, and we're proud to have you. Yeah,
thank you.
Definitely we'll work on that which you have required. We'll work on that. Yeah, thank you.
Wing Commander Bakshi Ji.
Ji, namaskar, Gaurav Gupta
very
ji.
much. Yeah, respected chair, sir, ma'am, and our honored guests. I'm Wing Commander Bakshi. I'm a former fighter pilot from Air Force, but I'm now president of Asian Union. And I would like to give you a good news that in Asian Union, we have added this as a policy mandate to protection of environment. And when we are meeting the other country members, we are going to work jointly towards environment and exchange of ideas on that. And with that, I would like to draw your attention to this aspect of environment protection. It is a part of our actual civilization and part of our culture. A lot of examples have been given. But I would like to tell you that from the armed forces, the environment has been very disastrous as far as the armed forces is concerned. And I draw your attention to the Vietnam War, where the Agent Orange was used, and the genetic traits of flora and fauna of a vast variety of human beings and animals, etc., started changing. This aspect has to be borne in mind. And then you must also understand these weapons like cluster bomb, depleted uranium, they create so much of havoc with the environmental elements that thereafter the spread of diseases and spread of skin problems and spread of so many other things start continuing. This is aspect, so that is why Indian armed forces are very aware of this. You must have heard of Eco Task Force. If you go towards Missouri, when you went in 74 and 75, you saw stony hills and stony mountains. All that has now changed because of environmental effort. The Eco Task Force has started working. In the Air Force, when we were working for flight safety, during construction of runways and removal of jungles, a lot of species of birds were getting affected. We had called Mr. Salim Ali, Dr. EPG, and we to protect the environment of the birds, yes, yet avoid bird hits. We had a lot of problem. And then this affected the elephants, their habitat, the roots of elephants, the roots of other animals. For that, a lot of study was done, and Indian Air Force and Indian Army worked relentlessly to at least save, and so many times we have worked towards even remodifying the roots of elephants, etc. from an Eco Task Force. So this aspect I would like to bring to you. But I also like to tell you, the government has also is becoming aware and should be more aware now. If I suggest that a policy must be introduced in construction of railway lines, in construction of telecommunication projects, dams, roads, to maintain an environmental file, so that experts must be called and ad hoc work should not be done. For example, vultures have started disappearing. This was noticed by me actually when we are working in Ambala on bird hits. And the vulture is clearly getting extinct because of so many other things, including bird hits from the aircraft. And then sparrows, because of telecommunication projects, the sparrows are no more in Delhi. So imagine the degradation of environment. Then we had also worked towards Ganga project, because our forces, when we were working in Ganga, the dolphins, it was discovered, are disappearing, and a lot of work from our side also was put for preservation of dolphins with the world wildlife. So this aspect in Sundarbans, the alligators, the gharials of our river, these aspects have also been worked. So I would like to also draw attention, Guruji, right in the beginning, he mentioned about glaciers. Let me tell you, the Gulf War, the burning of oil fields created so much of soot that the soot has been found on Himalayas. Now that is what is called environmental degradation. When the climbers went on Himalayas, they found soot on the mountains. So this aspect also has to be worked out. And I would also like to draw your attention to the various other agencies which are working towards it. And I would suggest that government must keep a list of all these agencies are working together, so they work in synergy, they help each other, and there should be a central point in the government where these agencies can approach and bring their points up instead of working in isolation. So with that, I'd like to thank you.
Thank you very much. And now we are very proud to welcome our celebrity guest, Mr. Parveen Dabas from Bombay. Welcome, Mr. Parveen Dabas. Can you hear us?
Thank you so much. I can hear you. Thank you so much.
Yes, it is a matter of pride. Dr. Singha John, welcome.
Thank you, Gaurav ji. Thank you, Aruna ji. It's a great honor to be here with the Indian Council for Human Relations, and nothing more appropriate than World Environment Day. And I'm so thankful to Parveen for taking your precious time and joining us. Malhotra ji, Ganju ji, Your Excellencies, everybody. It's a great moment that we've all come together for something so needed, especially post-COVID. This is a great, not just importance, it's imperative that we pay attention to our environment. I would like to briefly introduce our honorable celebrity guest. Thank you, Parveen, once again for taking the time and joining. Parveen Zabaz made his debut with the movie Dilagi, and he also has acted in several languages, but his first major role was in the movie Monsoon Wedding, directed by Meera Nair, and he's appeared in several Bollywood films hence. Tumse Milkar, and of course the hero love story of a spy, Maine Gandhi Ko Nahi Mara, Khosla Ka Ghosla, for which he won acclaim. And in 2005, he appeared in Sarabai versus Sarabai. And he's been doing, I think his main thing, his movie that he directed, the Sahi Dande Galat Bande, right business, wrong guys, for which he won the Bronze Palm Medal at the Mexico International Film Festival and at the Houston International Film Festival. It was also selected for the Indian Panorama section of the International Film Festival of India in Goa. So overall, from everything that you have accomplished, I also know that you are an avid deep sea diver and photographer, which is where I think your connection with the environment comes in, Parveen ji. What is your take on how we are dealing with the current environmental sustainability situation, especially with under the water?
Thank you, first of all, for having me, and thank you and greetings to everyone here. And thank you for the lovely introduction. I want to carry on from what Mr. Praful Bakshi ji was saying. He spoke extremely well. I'm sorry, I've not heard anybody else, but Mr. Bakshi sir spoke extremely well, especially when he spoke about, on Mount Everest, they found these soup cans. That's what I think he mentioned. Now, if we get to, when we talk about environment and we talk about all these issues, sometimes we feel burdened by the enormity of it and the complexity of it. But when you break it down, I think it really comes down to a certain simplicity of, taking care of what we are doing, with things around us, and also what we are passing on. Now, let me just give an example of that. Is, this whole thing of discovering and ecotourism. I've been across the world scuba diving. Now there are two things here. Ecotourism took off to give people, forms of livelihood, through the environment, so that they could better take care of the environment. But what's happening also is the very tourists who are funding that, just like, Prafulji gave the example of Everest, just like the people who are, paying a lot to get to Everest are also the ones who are leaving a lot of junk behind. So it's very simple things, which is why I'm really happy that the government, I'm not pro or against any government or political party, so this is not a political statement, but I'm very glad that the government started a Swachh Bharat message for everybody. The reason I'm saying that is because it has made a big effect on our younger generation, on our kids. I have 2 kids. Now it's a little hard to deal with like I said, the enormity of the situation. Sometimes you just have to get to a simple thought, like, a rupee is made of 100 paisa. Each and every paisa makes that rupee. So each and every action that you are doing contributes to helping the environment. If you are even explaining to one person who's throwing a plastic bag, somewhere on a beach or next to you in a nice way, it's helping form this connection of people trying to do better for the environment. And I think that is an addictive thing if it is done in a nice way. And what I'm trying to say is it's the simplicity of just taking care of the environment around you. And when I've been in different places, and I want to give the example of our own islands, the Andaman Islands, where they do not allow you to go to certain islands with any plastic bag or anything. What we have found, what I've seen in a lot of parts of the oceans, is they are just full of plastic. Why? Because we throw them over the boats, we just throw them, and if somebody says something, it leads to a fight. Who are you to say? So what the Andamans has started, which is really great, is they do not allow anybody to take a plastic bag. And if you are taking it, you have to leave 100 rupees. And when you come back, there's various ways, water bottles, plastic. So they do not allow you to take anything which can typically pollute the environment. And if we see a lot of these places, they're chock-a-block of plastic. So we need more endeavors like that, where the tourist places, where we are paying tourist money so that they do sustain themselves, but we are polluting them as well. So it becomes a contradictory kind of, business. So we need to start very simple things like this and put in rules in place where we are not allowing plastic bags, we're not allowing plastic bottles, and pass that knowledge on to the younger generation as well. Because it is them, of course, who are inheriting what we are doing and who are actually going to be able to fix everything that we have done wrong.
I think, Parveenji, that's very important that you brought up the issue with the younger generation, because that's exactly what Gauravji, Malhotraji, Aruna Uswalji, we have been putting together with the Indian Council for Human Relations to create more awareness with the youth. And in fact, Gauravji has been extensively reaching out to the youth in schools and colleges, and we've been propagating the movement, plastic-free world, of course, starting with our own country, our own neighborhood, and of course, with our own homes. So it is, as you said, imperative at this point, and you are seeing the damage it's done, not just to the environment, but the beings on the planet we live in, from the whales that you see. In fact, since you're a deep sea diver, I'm sure you would have seen whales getting killed, turtles getting killed. There is such a harsh, brutal destruction of the other living beings because of what we are doing. And what do you feel as a filmmaker? This I'm talking more as a filmmaker. Entertainment to environment. How can we create a movement? How can people creatively make entertainment a means to get that message to the youth?
I totally agree with you. That's a really good point, because as we see, a lot of messages come across through cinema.
Like
I'll give you an example. Munna Bhai. I'm sorry, I think somebody's talking.
I know, I think somebody is talking.
I'm trying to mute everybody.
Unmute, everybody. Gaurav, mute everyone except me.
Yes, I'm trying.
Thank you, Gauravji.
Sorry for that. So, like I was saying, like Munna Bhai MBBS was all about, solving your problems through love, and that made a big difference, but the thing is, it was an entertaining movie. Sure. It's very, very hard to make feature films entertaining with messages. Sure. They do work sometimes, like Hathi Mere Sathi, which was long time back, but they have been done. And I agree with you that we do need more feature films which can give this message in an entertaining way, so that it actually sinks in, because it's not easy sometimes that the message really sink in. We listen and we forget the next day, but with films, with cinema, these messages really stay with us. So I agree with you that it needs to be done. The only problem, of course, is filmmakers are always risk averse.
Sure.
So that's why we see a message-based content more in documentaries.
Sure.
They're
Now,
also very important. I'm sorry, I just want to say one more thing. We do need more message-based documentaries like in the style of Michael Moore in USA, where he talks about very strong subjects. So we do need more documentaries as well. Now that we have the platforms as well, like we have Netflix, Amazon, all of these platforms where people really watch and it sinks in. So we do need more documentaries on the environment as well. Sorry.
What's interesting is that you mentioned that there are fewer people creating movies that have the right message. But don't you feel it can be very tastefully put in, because most of the stars in the movies are people that the youth look up to, or people look up to, especially the masses. So a message coming from them, but tastefully and in a manner that they can understand, yet not take away from the commercial aspect of the movie or take away from the TRP of the film. I mean, for example, recently we've seen Akshay Kumar come up with very interesting movies, and I think not just on Swachh Bharat, but on everything, very interesting tech. I think what is a toilet? It was very interesting how he showed. So I think things like that could make an impact, especially when it comes to a country like India, because we do look up to stars. Cinema and cricket are the two things that we always are pulled towards. So if there is a way, especially filmmakers like you, who stand out because you stand to make a difference, don't you think that you could step up and do more? And if you feel that incorporating more of that would help?
Absolutely, I totally agree with you. And there is one film which is in the you can say near or far horizon, which deals with the environment. It's not directly an environment film, but it is a wildlife come environment film, which I've been working on, but can't talk about right now because there's nothing fixed yet. But yeah, that is always been on my mind, at least, that cinema is such a powerful weapon. And like you rightly said, Akshay Kumar has done some of these films right now. And if you see, there have been a couple of more films with Ayushmann, I think, with which Mr. Anubhav Sinha directed, which was on Caste as well. So there are, quite a few filmmakers who are, well, not quite a few, but there are some filmmakers and actors who are working on these kind of subjects so that the message, is told in an entertaining way, but it hits home much stronger.
Sure. Music. Now that again, because again, we are trying to, as a forum, as a platform, you've seen it's a very important and powerful forum that's out here. True that different people, especially I feel, if music videos are created, and even in that, tastefully, things are put in, it could be something propagated. Again, just to bring back to the forum out here, Aruna ji and Malhotra ji, Gaurav Gupta ji, they recently, and Dr. Dipali, all of them brought out menstrual hygiene, and why that is important. Again, using something that is organic friendly, organically sustainable, environmentally sustainable. These are things which this entire platform is standing up for. Aruna ji, on that note, I would like you to say a few words, because Praveen ji has taken his time as the chairperson. What would you say to Praveen ji?
Of course, first of all, I would like to welcome Praveen ji and Sanjana. Of course, you have brought him in. So nice to have him here, because if we have to have any webinar and if any Bollywood personality is coming, so it gives a lot of influence to our webinar. So thank you, Praveen ji, for that. I was very much impressed with your ideas that even I was thinking that instead of making a full film, documentaries is a better choice, because it will be very small and duration of time will be very less, and then it will be relating to the subject which we really want to address to. So, Sanjana, I think it's a need of the hour, because these days we are celebrating since 30 years, maybe 40 years from now. But I understand in COVID-19, we could be able to enjoy nature very well. We all are staying at home. We could be able to feel sky blue and everything, the mountains very near to us, because we are staying in Delhi. But after COVID-19, what is the next step? We are worried about that. Traffic will start again the pollution will start. So these things are very serious matters which we need to take it into consideration. So definitely with our team, we have good members in our Ichr. We have a big team of our committees. We can look into this also, and we'll be needing the help of Praveen and of course you also sometime when we are going to have something on this subject. So I'm so impressed today, and Praveen, thank you so much, and wishing you all the best for your new ventures coming in, and hopefully we'll see you again. And thank you for your time and your attention to this subject for environment. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Aruna ji. Parveen ji, I'd like to, Sundari ji, 1 minute. I'd like to share to Parveen ji, Aruna ji, the producer of movie Pinjar also.
Okay, sorry, which film did you say, sir?
Pinjar.
It was Pinjar.
Wow, that's such a beautiful
They
film.
produced a movie, and then it got acclaim also nationally.
Of course, of course.
Yes, Dr.
It was a
Dwivedi
wonderful,
had directed it.
wonderful
Yes,
film.
yes.
So congratulations on that. And thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Just one experience, but good experience.
Great.
Well, we need more of your contribution to making good films like that. And again, Gaurav ji, you have been extensively working on providing food for migrants, providing animals food and water. Now again, it comes to the environment, and Parveen ji, highlighting the work of people like this, especially when celebrities come and support it, it makes a huge difference. And KL Malhotra ji, I would like you also to say a few words to Parveen ji, because the time is of essence and I know everybody is waiting. So I want to quickly have you say a few words to Parveen ji.
मैं बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ प्रवीण जी आए और इनके विचारों से हमारा एक मार्गदर्शन हुआ और जैसे मिसेस ओसवाल ने कहा कि हमें आगे इस दिशा में डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज बनाने चाहिए, हम कोशिश करेंगे इस दिशा में हम आगे बढ़े.
Thank you.
Thank you, Malhotra ji. Gaurav ji, if you will also say a few quick words to
I like to thank you and thank you to Parveen ji. It is a different Parveen we have seen today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Real environmentalist.
Thank you so much. I think each and every one of us is an environmentalist and has the ability to be an environmentalist. You know, we just have to start with ourselves, you know, and make sure वो पहले होता था, if you don't mind, I'll speak in Hindi a little. वो पहले कहते थे कि हम लोगों की आदत होती थी कि अपना घर साफ रखते थे और गंदगी बाहर फेंकते थे. तो वो आदत मेरे ख्याल से धीरे धीरे चेंज होनी शुरू हो गई है और आगे जाके मेरे ख्याल से जिस तरह से हम जा रहे हैं, मेरे ख्याल से अंदर भी और बाहर भी हर जगह हमको स्वच्छता रखनी है. और मैं एक बहुत बात बोलना चाहूंगा कि हिंदुस्तानी होने के नाते सब जो है अपने एनवायरनमेंट से नेचुरली कनेक्टेड है. अगर आप देखें बड़े होते हुए जो आंगन में एक तुलसी पेड़ होता था, उसकी पूजा करना और पेड़ पौधों की, तो वो हमारे उसमें हर हिंदुस्तानी का मजहब चाहे कोई भी हो, हम सब में एक एनवायरनमेंट से जुड़े रहने का एक ऑलरेडी कल्चर है. बड़े होते हुए उसी हिसाब से हुए हैं पेड़ पौधों के साथ. इसके साथ अभी कल मैं एक और डॉक्यूमेंट्री देख रहा था जिसमें कश्मीर में वो लोकल सब फॉरेस्ट फायर से लड़ रहे हैं, टिम्बर माफिया के अगेंस्ट लड़ रहे हैं. तो हर स्टेट में हर यू कैन से हर जगह हिंदुस्तान में हम लोग वैसे ही एनवायरनमेंट के साथ जुड़े हुए हैं. कुछ आदतें हमारी बीच में चलते चलते थोड़ी सी खराब हो गई है क्योंकि ये सब पैकेट वाली चीजें और ये सब वो सब आना शुरू हो गया है. तो वो एक थोड़ी सी आदत खराब हो गई है. और गांव वगैरह में भी आप जाओ तो वो झोड़ और तो जो तालाब है वो भी अभी प्लास्टिक से भरे होते हैं. You know, they are also full of plastic because before nobody was used to that. Thing is not there because you didn't need really a garbage can because you were not using anything which needed to go into the garbage can because you were using everything. You know, you were anything, even a coconut, if you are using the whole coconut, so nothing needed to go into the garbage can. So some of those habits of ours of using each and everything that our resources, you know, that I think has to come back. We have to come back to a more natural, sustainable form of consumption, especially of food and food products as well, which I think we are slowly getting back to, especially people in the cities. You know, less of the packed stuff, which is what generates a lot of packaging, which is again what goes into the landfills and you know, it becomes a vicious cycle. So I have to say, as Indians, all of us, you know, need to relook at our roots and you know, how we have grown up. And I think doing that can really help in making the environment you know, back to its pure form that it was.
I think, sorry, I will say, Gaurav, just 1 minute. Praveenji, I think we should thank COVID-19. It's a blessing in disguise, I think, because we have been able to know nature more in these days, staying at home. So now we need to continue it. The same style of living, we need to continue and make our, you know, Mother Earth very happy and fresh and, you know, clean. That's what I feel. So hopefully we'll be able to take your help. We'll look forward for your support also for that. If we come with some, you know, something to just put a message to around maybe India or around the globe for this environment. And I would like to tell you that why I'm interested in that, because I am a past director from Lions International and I'm on the board of trustee now. So I am attached to Lions since 30 years, our international foundation. We're also working on this very, very, you know, graciously this subject on environment. It is our main subject, global causes. So maybe we'll come back to you for maybe some your inputs or maybe some of your experience to maybe make a small documentary to put in the international stage. So that will be great. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. Yeah.
That sounds so intriguing. Thank you so much, Aruna ji, Malhotra ji, Gaurav ji, and everybody, because this was something so important and coming from a creative viewpoint. Parveen ji, you were excellent, and I think you shared so much invaluable experience and knowledge. I'm sure we can take and probably for Indian Council of Human Relations, like Aruna ji said, maybe we'll create a video. I'm working on a movie, H2O Movement, which is all about environmental sustainability, but we can always do something more related to what specifically post-COVID. So we welcome you and thank you for this. And once again, thank you everybody. And Parveen ji, we will see you soon. That's all. We'll be back.
Yes.
And have a wonderful...
Thank you, Sanjana, for bringing Parveen ji, and thank you also.
Yes. Sanjana, thank you. And we'd like to add, Parveen ji, here we have Ambassador of Zambia with us in this panel, Ambassador of Comoros, Madagascar, Charge of Affairs, and diplomat from Afghanistan, our Minister Consul from Afghanistan, Egypt,
Namaste. Namaste.
and
Zimbabwe. So it is a global platform. We are already here, and we hope we will continue with this more.
Yeah.
Sanjana, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Parveen ji.
On the concluding note, on the lighter note, we'd like
all
to hear
the best,
from
Sanjana, on your film, and I love the title. It's an amazing title, and all the best for it.
We're looking forward to having you here soon.
Definitely,
Stay
definitely.
blessed and happy World Environment Day. Let's make it every day World Environment Day.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you. Now it's time to hear from our members. Omkar, you would like to say something?
Yes, I would like to say something.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let me say about the why we need to celebrate the World Environment Day. In the late mid 60s and to 85, the world was so much polluted and environment was being cut, and the ozone was being affected. And so, during considering all these facts, the internet. And are you hearing me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it took almost 2 years to get all the countries, all the leading countries, developing countries, to come to one platform. And in January 90, it was signed to become effective. And since then, there were a lot of air conditioning, and refrigerators were repaired on the street side, and all the gases coming out was the main cause for the ozone damage. And moreover, then, the main effect was the greenhouses. All plastic, the heat generator was there, and they started with a change of gases from methane to other gases. Now, every 5 years, they are developing new gases to save the environment. So since 2000, every country, you might be acknowledged that they changed the system of compressors, AC compressor, to reduce the ozone effect. So this is the way how we started. and more because I am dealing with the India quality because I studied my career in '75 with the manufacturing of air conditioning equipment, and the main concern was also that indoor air quality. Because if in the previous time you would have seen it, the long dust should go to all the hotels, all the buildings with the long dust, and the air coming circulating, same air being circulating to all the rooms. And then in that treaty also it was signed that we should stop all this thing. Then water chiller was introduced, and now all the hotels, all the big hospitals, they have ventilator rooms in the system. So if one is affected with any bacteria or any infection, so it should not be transferred to other room. So this is what we are doing, and the best is like in summers, we are all sitting in the air conditioning. If we are 5 person in a hotel, in a restaurant, there might be 100, 200 people. Same air is being circulated. So that's where they started, they stopped all things and putting small HUs to cater the whole area. Well, being a lion, man, astrology, lions and Rotarian, they had the wonders. They did wonders by planting trees. We had a project for planting trees to save the environment, and this is being adopted by the whole world. And let me clarify this thing. It is we who polluted the world. We polluted the world with the environment and throwing a plastic bag and choking it all the drains, and the gases coming out. Now, what I think we should pledge today, yes, we should plant one tree every week and see that no plastic bag or something is being thrown out. They should be properly handled. And as Dr. Dipali was telling, it was for the mask. That's the biggest hazard now. Because if you see on the road, masks are thrown on the streets. So that is also another cause for the concern. And I would like to thank all the Ichr team.
Thank you, Ranjit. We have more panelists. Everybody is waiting. Thank you very much. Thank you, Minazi.
Adi, thank you very much for providing me an opportunity to speak on this day. First of all, I would like to congratulate all the budding speakers. Everybody spoke too good. And we are really concerned about the environment, not only of the nation, but of the world only. Similar movement was started by the Australians also, and annual they also celebrate Clean Up the World. The movement was started by one single person over there. It has become a global movement. Well, in our schools, we have an eco club, we do plant trees, but that's not enough. Each one of you, as Onkar has rightly said, we have to come forward, each one plant one tree. The pollution mainly is caused by 3 reasons. The air pollution, that is coming through the fields, emissions, cylinders, generator sets, and so on and so forth. Then comes the noise, honking, pressure horns, and other reasons. Industrial waste in industrial pollution. We need to check and control all these things so that we live together. When we talk about breathing, we all need to breathe, and we are concerned about each other. In Gurbani we say, अरदास के टाइम पर हम कहते हैं सरबत का भला, सबका भला मांगते हैं. If we are asking for welfare of everybody, our welfare is included. It's a Vasudev Kutumbakam. The world is one family today. And once we are living, we are worried, we are concerned. Aristotle said, man is a social animal. Yes, we are dependent upon each other. If we unitedly don't come forward, don't contribute, help each other, we cannot save the world. Mostly I've seen, once we are in the foreign countries, we abide by the law. We don't throw anything outside. We try to keep it into our pockets, even the wrappers, or in our cars. The moment we land in India back, after a day or two, we start following the same habits. Where are we heading for? Why can't we have this feeling in ourselves, this is our country, we have to make it neat and clean. I remember the Commonwealth Games time, we also cleaned up the Delhi, the environment of Delhi, and with the mascot of Shera Mera Dost, collectively, all together. there was a feeling of oneness, sincerity, for motherhood, for the nation. But now we have to think about. Mahatma Gandhi said, there is enough for everybody to fulfill the needs, but not the greed. Now we have become greedy people. We are self-centered. We have to come out of all these things. We have to think about human being and become humane. And in case we spoil the environment, what's going to happen? Lot many diseases will be coming. Pandemic type of thing, corona level thing will come again. Chikungunya will be there, malaria will be there, and other diseases, skin diseases can come up also. Besides the rising level of water in the oceans, that is, you talk about the melting of the glaciers, overflooding of the rivers, deforestation is already there, fire in the jungles is already there, landslides are there. Today I was watching one of the channel, the TV, I saw a big chunk of land in Holland that got disconnected from the land and went into the ocean. Now this is again a matter of concern. How much is happening, why it's happening? We collectively need to think, join hands together and make this world neat and clean and save the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Madhuji, your turn. Time for you.
Well, good evening, everyone. A lot has been already said, but I'll quickly say Happy Environment Day to everyone. Good evening, respected Aruna ji, my mentor, Malhotra ji, Gaurav ji, Honorable Excellencies, our members and distinguished guests. Talking about celebrating biodiversity, it is the key to the maintenance of the world. And talking about time for nature, see, there are 5 primary colors that we have. And yet in combination, they can produce more hues than we can ever imagine. Similarly, life is beautiful with all its colors, even the darker ones. We cannot decide which color is best and which one should prevail.
Some problem with the network. Before we invite our honorable guest, Ambassador Combros, we have another guest, Dr. Anurita. Doctor would like to share quickly. Dr. Anurita, can you introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, how are you?
We're fine.
Gaurav, on Environment Day, everybody has given their views on, like doctors have given, I just heard about Dr. Dipali, she said people are throwing gloves and masks on the road and everybody has given a view, but I feel personally that the COVID is not over as yet. So we can save our environment by taking the precautions, which everybody know that we have to wear masks, we have to wear gloves, be sanitized, stay away from people, stay at home. As we are doing this meeting together, everybody's sitting at home. It feels good at times when people are taking precautions, but still the things are not getting here in India. So I feel that the more the precautions you'll take, the better it will be, and we'll all come out of it very soon. That is what I have to say about myself and the environment, because environment can be corrected only when we go out. Now, being doctors, we are seeing the situations here. It is really bad, and many cases of COVID are coming, and we have to tackle with them and save them in a way which we are trying to do. But it's becoming at times very difficult to control the situation here.
Thank you, Doctor, joining us. And like now, time for our family member, our ambassador, Honorary Consul General of Comoros, Mr. K.L. Ganjuji. Oh, he's trying to connect his audio. Meanwhile, we have our member, Mr. Naveen Kumar is here, Mr. Machand was here, and Mr. Navratan Agarwal from Bikaner was here. And we have Mr. Chidambaram Kote, who will give us a beautiful song, he will sing towards end. Ganjuji, welcome Ganjuji.
Thank you very much, my dear.
Thank you very much for patiently listening to all, and now it's your turn.
Thank you very much. You know, I don't take much of your time because when it's just for 2 hours and there are 60 people, we must not take more than 2-3 minutes each. Before I say something about the environment, let me thank Aruna Oswal ji, KL Malhotra ji, and you, Gaurav ji, for inviting me to this wonderful and happy Environment Day to everybody. You know, we often talk about multiple threats facing the people and the planet. Climate change and degradation in environment is eating into our well-being. If we don't take immediate action, it will be worst. As a matter of fact, the present crisis of COVID-19 has given all of us time to introspect. All of us must have, analyzed our past, analyzed our present, and must be thinking about our future. If we don't wake up even now, I think it will be very, very late. Governments are doing something, but that is not enough. It is the duty of each one of us to make it a point to protect our environment. This Mother Earth is very important, which has been proved beyond doubt after the COVID came into our life. After 100 years of pandemic, which was there in 1918, 102 years, that it has made us realize that we should not play with the environment. Things are not very good at the moment, but at the same time, we should not lose our heart. As a matter of fact, I will say that we are at fault. We have become very greedy. All the people on this planet have become very greedy. Those who can afford want the best of the comforts, whatever is the cost. I mean, if I want to live the life of a king size, I will take it without realizing that what is the effect of this king size life of mine on the others. So therefore, if you go back into the history, you will realize that there were not so many cars, not so many air conditioners, not so many refrigerators, not so many other gadgets, but still people were very happy and the environment was very friendly. But what has happened in the last 50 years? Of course, it is a revolution, economic revolution, this and that, but not at the cost of the life of the people. Life of the people is more important. Life of the people is more important than having 6 cars standing outside and there are the 4 members of the family driving, one person driving each car and 2 still remaining there. That is not life. So I have realized that, rather everybody must have realized that we have to be very, very conservative in living style and in making the environment so good that everybody is happy. You know, with whatever things are manufactured anywhere in the world, if they give you 10 comforts, they will give you at least 5 discomforts also. So similarly, the gases which come out of all these things and whatever destruction they do it to the environment is known to the world. But having said all that, we must use everything moderately. We must not deprive ourselves of the comforts, but not to the level that it destroys the environment. So we must use everything moderately and we must try to protect our environment to the best of our ability. More than that, I think we should try to sit together and see how better we can do to the world, what action we should take so that our remaining life is also comfortable and free from all these problems, and the future of our children is also protected. So therefore, I will appeal to all of you from the core of my heart that we must start contributing towards, saving the environment and at least plant 1 or 2 trees wherever it is possible. And it is not necessary to plant the trees. Everybody cannot plant a tree. If you are in Delhi, it is not so easy. At least have some flower pots outside your house. that also contributes to the environment, and it also beautifies your outlook of the house. So therefore, let us have the best of the comforts in life at the minimum level, and also let us also try to use the gadgets to the level that it should not destroy our environment. I think we should pledge that we will help each one of us that tries to save the environment. I think the time is very short, so I could have said something more also, but I think this is enough. Let others speak. And thank you very much, Mr. Gaurav ji, and thank you very much, Aruna ji, and thank you very much, all my friends from the diplomatic corps. I see the diplomat from Egypt, I see the High Commissioner of Zambia, I see others also from Madagascar and all. My good evening, hello to everybody. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your very inspiring words. Really appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a very beautiful singer. Chidamna would like to conclude with your beautiful voice.
Yeah, sure, sir. Happy World Environment Day to everybody. So, thank you, Goro sir, for giving me this opportunity. I'd like to sing a song from Satyam Shum Sundaram. एक सूर्य है, एक सूर्य है, एक गगन है, एक ही धरती माता। दया करो प्रभु एक बने सब, दया करो प्रभु एक बने सब, सबका एक ही नाता। राधा मोहन शरणम सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम। So we are all living beings. We are all connected with each other through Mother Earth. Happy World Environment Day to everybody once again. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you all.
Thank you, Malhotra ji. We like to thank.
Thank you, everybody.
Our excellent Madagascar is there.
Gaurav ji.
हाँ जी मल्होत्रा जी।
मधुरुचि जी को सुन नहीं सके तेरा उन्हें दोबारा चांस दीजिए।
मधुरुचि वेलकम बैक।
Everybody has said everything, so I would just like to conclude. Let's pledge to be an environmentalist and a plan for each one of you. Thank you.
Please keep
all this plan for ourselves also one each to all the members from Madhu.
For everyone. Working from home saves my travel time, and I'm getting this opportunity to be with my plants in my balcony, in my indoor plants everywhere. So let's enjoy the environmental day and let's pledge to be an environmentalist.
Excellency, quick review from you. Excellency. Yes. Quick review from you. We are closing the session.
Thank you again for this very rich debate, and happy World Environment Day for everyone. Let us make every day a World Environment Day because we are part of it, and celebrate the earth we've been blessed with. Thank you so much.
Before Malhotra ji give a vote of thanks, I would like to put on record. Gaurav, just listen. Before Malhotra ji is going to do vote of thanks, I would like to put on record that today's webinar is happened only because of Gaurav, Malhotra ji, and all the members who are present today, and all the panelists and all the guest speakers. So it was a great day today, and I hope we can celebrate more and more on behalf of ICHR. So many big events like this. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you, Malhotra ji, and thank you all members who have participated.
Aruna ji,
Thank you, Gaurav.
Thank you. Malhotra ji.
Let me express vote of thanks to all the participants, and I am especially thankful to our chairperson, the source of inspiration behind all these activities. many things have been said, but one thing has not been focused so far. That was Paris Accord, climate change, and its result was the agreement was holding the increase in average temperature to well below 2 degrees Celsius above and to pursue the temperature reached to 1.5 Celsius levels. The second point was increasing the ability to adapt to the adverse effect of climate change. And the most important aspect where I want to put emphasis was making finance flows consistent with pathways towards low greenhouse gases emissional climate residual development. So the developed countries was supposed to give some amount of money to see the emission of the developing countries. Here is the case when Obama signed this accord and Mr. Trump, he has withdrawn from this award. The day which will be the last day of the Trump presidency, that day will be the last day of 3 years clause that only he can withdraw after 3 years. But we must emphasize to our government or to NGOs that such actions by US, withdrawing aid from WHO, withdrawing aid from UNESCO, withdrawing now once America has signed a accord, withdrawing that where will be the future of the humanity? With these words, I convey my thanks each and everyone, excellencies, leaders, my social friends, and I am happy that maximum number of ICHR, they have participated this time. I hope next time do better than this and there will be more enthusiasm. Let us celebrate World Environment Day by having a slogan. When we go to a temple, Sanatan Mandir, and we say, विश्व का कल्याण हो, प्राणियों में सद्भावना हो, हर हर महादेव. These words, we expect that everybody which has a soul, which is a life, प्राणियों में सद्भावना हो और विश्व का कल्याण हो. Everybody is a symbol of God. So with these feelings, I'm thankful to Mr. Gaurav Gupta for coordinating this special seminar on this day and keep up this tradition going on. Thank you very much once for all.
Thank you all. Namaste. Stay safe. Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Thank you, Professor Nada.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Rajat, for
Thank you, Mr. Bakshi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mother, you keep watering these plants.
Yes, thank you. This is for all of you.
Yes, thank you. भाभी जी, लक्ष्मी, आपका बर्थडे है शायद आज, भाभी जी.
नहीं, मेरा बर्थडे नहीं है.
नहीं, हमारे मेंबर संजीव जी.
संजीव जी बहुत अच्छी जगह बैठे हैं, मैं बहुत देर से देख रही हूँ. आप बीच पे बैठे हैं.
बर्थडे है ना भाभी का.
मैं बैठे हूँ बीच.
Very nice.
The beach actually.
He's actually enjoying the environment.
आज वर्ल्ड एनवायरनमेंट डे को सेलिब्रेट कर रहे हैं आप.
Enjoy the nature.
Excellent.
Enjoy nature.
Excellent.
थैंक यू.
अंबानी जी बीच पे बैठे हैं, अंबानी जी भी एक्टिव हैं. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you जी. Thank you everybody. Thank you for
Hello.
joining.
Take care. All the best.
वेबिनार भी चल रहा है साथ साथ.
Thank you जी. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
We're signing
बाय बाय.
Sorry. Wait. Hello.